The theme of today's video was brought by this book. Let's give it a round of applause. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. We are going to talk about the books that reminded me of other books, and when I was reading them I was thinking, oh, this book reminds me of another one. If this seems like your gem, keep watching. I present you the first book of this video, You Are Here by Nicholls. This book is about hiking, but it's also about friends, about friendships, about love. Basically, it's a romance book, but it's a smart romance book. We are following here two main characters, Marnie and Michael. Marnie is a copywriter. Marnie is stuck. She is spending all her time in her flat. She never goes out. She's very content with her life as it is, but she understands that she is stuck. She doesn't have many friends. All of her friends are married with kids. She is all alone, and she starts to feel this. She starts to feel lonesome, and she wants to change something in her life, but she doesn't know what to change. Michael, on the other hand, is a teacher, and his wife left him, and he doesn't know what to do with his life because he loved his wife very much. He is sad and lonely, and he didn't want this marriage to end, but life happened, and his wife left him. And a mutual friend, who is a very energetic teacher, decides to bring them together in a road trip. This road trip will give them the opportunity to explore themselves, to learn more about themselves, to see this amazing English weather. I found out in this book about this walk. It's called the Coast to Coast Walk. Hope you can see it. And after reading this book, you will want to go hiking. You will want to go and do this coast-to-coast walk. When I was reading this book, I was thinking about another book, which is this one. The book is called Wild, from coast to coast. Wild, from lost to found on the Pacific Crest Trail. It's a book by Cheryl. This one is not set in English, but is set in USA. This book is based on a real story. This author lost her mother, and she decides to go and do this walk. It's several hundred miles long, and she wants also to find herself because she was lost, she was stuck, and when she loses her mother, she understands that she needs to do something with her life, and she got divorced, and she decided to go and do this hike, and she thinks that this hike will help her to find herself after her mother died. I really much enjoyed both of these books, because I really like hiking, and I think if you don't like hiking, you need to try and read them, even if you didn't read any of them, because you want to go hiking after reading them, and I think you will start to enjoy hiking maybe as much as I do. A spellbinding novel about love, glamour, and the price of fame. Have you guessed what will be the next book? So the next book, it's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Jenkins. It's a book about Hollywood, about old Hollywood, about glamour, about the price of living this Hollywood life. Also, it's about love and about the husbands of Evelyn Hugo. In this book, Evelyn Hugo is old, and she decides to tell her true story, what happened in her life. She decides to tell her story to one girl who is a magazine reporter, Monique Grant. She wants to do this like exclusive interview where she will tell only Monique Grant what happened in her life, all about her husband, all things that no one knows about her, and Monique should write her story. This book is so good written that I was thinking when reading it that this Evelyn Hugo was a real person. This author is a very good writer, and I think you will come to enjoy very much reading Evelyn Hugo. And if you read already Evelyn Hugo and you want something else that will give you the same vibes, I recommend you Daisy Jones and the Six by the same author. This book it's about a band, and we are finding out their story when they are giving an interview to someone. Daisy Jones was a singer. She didn't have a band, her band. She was singing alone, and then her world collapsed with the Six, who were a band. They already had an album going, and their producer decided that they should get together, and we are finding out their story through this interview. Every band member is telling us their side of the story, and if you love the music of 70s, the rock and roll, the freedom that 70s give, I think you will enjoy it very much, as much as the Seven Husbands of Evelyn and Hugo. I'm back, and I had to get ahead because the next author wore them all the time, and I'm really fond of him. I wanted to look more like him, and if you know who this author is, please leave a comment. Really, do it. I'm kidding. The next author is Terry Pratchett, and we are going to talk about all his books, because if you liked any one of his books, I will recommend it one book to read. Terry Pratchett wrote, I think, let me check, 41 novels, a lot of them. I thought that there are more. Okay, they are just only 41. And his world is set on a Discord. This is a flat planet balanced on the backs of 4 elephants, which in turn stand on the back of a giant turtle. This is how ancient people thought the world was built, and Terry Pratchett wrote like his whole universe of books is based in this universe. So if you liked any one of his books, I think you will really enjoy Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. Baldree? Okay. I don't know if I'm saying this right. So Terry Pratchett basically invented the cozy fantasy concept. So this is a fantasy that has low stakes, that it's really good fantasy. It's like a blanket. You read it and it's like a warm cup of tea, this kind of fantasy. And Travis Baldree also wrote this book. It was very popular, I think, 1-2 years ago. It's about an orc who was tired of her life. She decided to go and open a coffee shop. She wants to open this coffee shop because she drank some coffee and in the past, and she really enjoyed it. No one knows what is coffee in this universe. She wants to give them the opportunity to learn about the coffee and drink it. She will find new friends. She will open this coffee shop, and she will learn so much more about running a business. Also, she will make a lot of friends on the way, and she will find a place in this world. In Terry Pratchett books, we are learning a lot about how things work. So, like in Going Postal, we are learning about post offices. In making money, we are learning about banks. So it's the same vibe here. We are learning about coffee shops and how they work, what should you serve so people will come back to you later. And I think it's a really amazing book to read in the autumn. All books of Terry Pratchett and Travis Baldree, also Legends and Lattes, will give you this fall vibe that everyone is craving now. The Stand by Stephen King, his magnum opus. The Stand by Stephen King, his magnum opus. A book that is very large. A book that is very big. It's a really big book. I think everyone have heard about this book, but if you didn't know anything about it, it's a book that has 2 versions. It has a 1300-page version and a 800-page version. So Stephen King actually wrote 1300 pages, but no one wanted to publish it, so he decided to write something smaller, and he wrote, again the same book, and he rewrote it in 800 pages. It's a very interesting fact about this book. And you can read it so the bigger size, or you can read it in smaller size. You will not lose any specific details, but if you want to enjoy this book more, you have to read it, of course, as it was written in 1300 pages. You will learn so much more that wasn't covered in a shorter version. This book is about a pandemic that started in a lab, like all the pandemics, I think. And this pandemic erased 98% of the population. Just 2% survived. And the people who survived were divided in two categories, so the good and the bad. Like the never-ending battle of the good and the evil. And Stephen King wrote it so well. I've read this book in the times of the pandemic, and it was really atmospheric to read it then. This book was written in 78, I guess. It was written in 78. A lot of stuff that was happening here was happening also in the COVID pandemic. I think Stephen King captured very good the people, the feelings, all the stuff that are going on in the times of pandemics, even before some big pandemic started. Stephen King sees very good emotions in people, and he knows how people could act in the times when there are no rules and you can do basically everything you want, because no one will tell you that this is bad or this is good, and how it is important to stay true to yourself and not do bad things, because they are easier than good things. So if you like The Stand, I recommend you The Fireman by Joe Hill. Joe Hill is Stephen King's son, and he also wrote a book about the pandemic. It's more a fantasy book about the pandemic. In this book, when people are getting sick, they are marked by some pattern of black and gold markings all over their body. You can understand if this person is sick by looking at them, and if you see these marks, so they are sick. If not, they are alright. If you will have these marks for some time, you will burst into flame. So it's a really creepy feeling. There is no cure, so a lot of people also die, like in Stephen King's The Stand book. So there are a lot of people who die and not so much people who survive. And the population also divides in good and evil. The good people are helping the victims of this disease, but bad people want to kill them to eradicate this disease. And there are no rules, like in Stephen King's The Stand, and it's so much easier to be with the bad people and to be on their side, because it's very hard to be on the good side and help the people who has this disease, because you can get sick. No one knows how this disease spreads, so it can be by touch, by sneeze. What is the cause of this disease, and how you can get sick. So you don't basically have you can't just wear a mask and not get sick, because you don't know if this mask will help you or not. And I really like that in this book the good people are not like good like in The Stand, so they are morally gray more. So sometimes they think that they do good stuff, but in reality they do a lot of bad stuff, like bad people. Maybe they are not so bad, so they don't kill the people who are sick, but they do things like really bad things to good people, because they just believe that this is a right thing to do. In the end, it's also this fight between good and evil, like in The Stand. And I think that Joe Hill did an amazing job in this book. So he showed us also the pandemic, but a really unique type of pandemic that I didn't see in any other books. And I think this is one of my favorite Joe Hill's books. So if you like The Stand, I think you will enjoy to read The Fireman. So I think that everyone watches Pinocchio at least one time in their life, or read the book or watch the cartoon, because Pinocchio it's like one of the most popular children's books and children cartoons and movies. So a lot of cartoons were made based on Pinocchio. But if you didn't see it, Pinocchio, it's a wooden boy who was made by this master Geppetto. Geppetto wanted a son, so he made Pinocchio. He wanted Pinocchio to be a real boy, and Pinocchio also wanted to be a real boy. He was a wooden doll, but he did all the bad stuff and all these perky things that a little boy will do. So if you enjoyed watching or reading about Pinocchio, I will recommend you to read In the Lives of Puppets. This is basically a retelling of Pinocchio, but in the world where all the population, at least almost all the population died, and they were eradicated by robots. And in this book we have an android inventor, Giovanni Lawson, who has a small treehouse in the forest, and he found this little boy Victor, and he adopted him. And also in this house we have other robots. One is nurse named Ratchet. If you have read Flying Over Cuckoo's Land, I think is the name of the book, there is the nurse Ratchet that was, I think, the inspiration for the nurse Ratchet in this book. And there is another robot named Rambo, who is this cute little thing, and that I think you will love from the first line that he will say. And all of them live together in this tree house. So Victor, who is a human, and 3 robots. One day they found an broken robot named Hub, and they decided to like adopt him, take him in their homes. There was built a home for every character that we have here, and we are following their life together in this forest. It's a very funny book. It's a book about love and loss and the family, and how important it is to have a family that will help you, family that will be there for you no matter what. And I think if you love Pinocchio, you will like also this book, In the Lives of Puppets. But if you love retellings, you will also enjoy this book, because it's a very humorous book. You will laugh a lot of times while reading it, especially while reading about Nurse Ratchet and Rambo, who have very interesting relationships together. TJ Klune does a very good job of writing characters. I think I liked all of his books because the characters there are very special, and you feel that they are alive, which is not the most cases in some books. So not in all the books you feel that characters are alive, but in his books you will find the most alive characters that are there. How it is to live in a life when you will know exactly the day when you will die. So maybe not the time, but you will know the day when you will die. I don't know. I don't know if I want to know the exactly day when I will die, but on the other hand, this will be a good thing, because I will be able to say goodbye to all the loved ones and do things, you know, like live like this is your last day. So I will be able to do that, because this will be my last day. And in the next book we have this premise. So the next book is They Both Will Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Here we have a Dadcast. It's like an application, a company who calls you, and they say that this is your last day. So you don't know when, you don't know how, you don't know anything, but you know that today you will die. So you can do anything you want, because you know that you will die. And here we are following 2 characters, Mateo Torres and Rufus Emeterio. They both are receiving these calls, and they know that today they will die somehow. They are total strangers, but somehow they meet, and they are forming this friendship, and we are learning more about them by reading everyone's points of view at one specific hour. So we are starting by when they are receiving this call that today they will die, and we are following the last day in their life. This book, it's sweet, devastating, because you know the end, but I was reading it and I was hoping that they will not die at the end. So that basically this title is somehow wrong, and something will happen and they will get to live. So if you like this book, I recommend you to read All That's Left in the World. This is a post-apocalypse book. It's also about two boys who are strangers. First boy, Jamie, he lives in the woods. In this book, there was a virus who wiped out almost all the population again. And we are following here two boys, Jamie and Andrew, who are strangers, but somehow they meet. So Jamie lives in the cabin in the woods, and one day he finds out that there is a stranger on his premises, and he doesn't know what to do with this stranger, to shoot him or not, because Jamie doesn't know if Andrew is good or bad. Like you know, in most of the books and the movies, so you never know in post-apocalyptic world if there are good people or bad people, and how you should proceed in some situations. So Jamie doesn't know what to do with Andrew, but Andrew is injured. Jamie decides to help him, put him back on his feet, and then saying goodbye to him. But somehow they befriend each other. Andrew is on a mission. He doesn't want to sit here in the woods with Jamie, so he wants to go in the world. He wants to see if there are any survivors left. Jamie doesn't want that at first, but then he decides that he should go with Andrew. He don't have to stay in the woods alone. He decides that he needs people in his life. So both of these books are AI, and they are queer. So if you like one of them, I think you will enjoy reading another one. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye!